Welcome to Going to Bremerton Together with Mayor Patty Lent. Today we're going to actually have a program where we talk about the things we've covered all of 2013. We're going to learn a little bit about BKAT and how they are capturing all of what we do throughout the entire county on behalf of our citizens. My guest is Charleen Burnette, and she is our executive director, our manager, our supervisor. She is the head honcho of BKAT. Char, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
And tell me how you became the position that you have with BKAT.
Well, when the program Inside Bremerton was created by Terry Bacciuello, I was a guest. I was always a guest. I was working at Parks and Recreation. I was always a guest talking about Parks and Recreation programming, sign up for swim lessons, things like that. Terry left the city, and then Mayor Horton said, Char, you're good. Why don't you do that program? So I began hosting Inside Bremerton, which was wonderful.
And you still do?
And I still do. I left Parks and Recreation, worked under Mayor Horton for almost 2 years, had a wonderful time as Municipal Services Coordinator. And then Carrie Bozeman was elected and wanted somebody else to do that job and asked me, do you want to go back to Parks, or would you like to go to TV and do BKAT? And I said, I'll go to BKAT. New challenge, new opportunities. So that was 2000.
2000.
Yeah, so I've been here for 13 years.
And did you live here before? I mean, how did
I get to Bremerton?
To Bremerton. Born and raised?
No, I'm a Chicago girl. I left Illinois. I finished college, went to San Diego thinking it would be nirvana and heaven on earth, and it was for 2 years. And I met a man there. And I knew, this is it. This is my husband. He's going to be my guy. And I looked at him and said, I can't live here. We'll never afford a home. I want children. I can't raise them here. And he said, let's go to Washington. I want to show you Washington. I was like, oh, that's really far north. I don't want to be in cold weather. Yeah. So we moved here, Mayor, in 1978. Best thing I've ever done.
I agree. Since I've been here, it's the best thing for me as well. Now, as far as BKAT, that's Bremerton-Kitsap Access Television. So the public can get involved, and you have a tremendous crew. How many people are working for BKAT?
Myself and John Rauch are our full-time folks. John and I kind of run the ship. I'm the administrator. John is our technical person. John has total background, graduate of Washington State University, total background in television production.
Oh, wonderful.
So I grabbed him, and then we have 4 part-time people. We have Ben Blankenship. Ben works at South Kitsap School District, as well as does our productions at the Port of Bremerton and Paulsbo City Council and the Kitsap County Commissioners meetings. So he's busy, but we hardly see him. Ben is behind the scenes, does his work in the evening, brings us his finished product. Excellent person, just does fabulous work. We also have Mike Barnett, who does your program. Very, very talented person. And we have Kyle Boynton. Kyle is a new hire. Kyle's worked for the city for a long time. Part-time as Parks and Recreation. Has helped at City Hall doing some projects. We lost one of our fellows, advertised. Kyle applied. He's got a great background, graduate of Bremerton High School and Central Washington University. He just hit the ground running. He does Inside Bremerton with me, around Kitsap, Bainbridge Island City Council. So government work is our bread and butter. Council meetings, commissioner meetings, port meetings, that's our bread and butter. Inside Bremerton, around Kitsap. And then the fun stuff is the Inside Bremerton and around Kitsap. Did I miss somebody? I think that's it. Mike Spencer.
Is he an editor?
Mike is our editor, our ghost behind the scenes. We shoot programs, send it to Mike. He edits at home, gives us the finished product.
That's great.
Another fabulous person.
Now
I didn't want to forget you, Mike.
And I believe you've had interns before, and do you work with Olympic College?
Mm-hmm.
They have a media production course,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that partnership is amazing, where they can take and get real live work out of the college courses.
We've had a few folks from Olympic College. Unfortunately, their program is really cut to the bone. They lost one of their key instructors, Joe Silverthorne, who was just amazing. He finally retired. Good for him. But we do work with the college. We'd like to work with them more. The students coming out of Bremerton High School, Central Kitsap High School, Ridgetop Junior High, the South Kitsap High School, those kids are getting fabulous training in media and television production.
Well, with Bremerton High School and the Performing Arts Center, and also in South Kitsap, they really do have an extensive program where they learn to work with sound and lighting. It's a great start, and it really does spark someone that wants to go into a career.
Every morning, Monday through Friday, when school is in session, at 8:15 a.m. on BKAT, you can see night news, live news program.
I have seen that.
right from the high school, where the kids are live. Parents tune in because then they learn what's going on at school. Make sure you sign up for this. College night is going on. Next week is Spirit Week, so it's excellent.
What time is that program?
8:15 Monday
8:15.
through Friday. Night news, great training for those kids.
That's great. I know when I'm thinking about the programs that I want to take and bring to the residents and the citizens in Bremerton and throughout the county, it's sometimes I'm thinking, well, what's a popular subject, or where do we go this time? We don't just take things that are issues, but we try to take and bring information that we feel, at least I do. And Char, you've been marvelous. If I get stuck, you'll always make a recommendation, or you'll do the research so that we can get those people on the show.
Thank you so much.
So as we run down there, I'm just not going to go January and what we did, but the highlights. We did have the Salvation Army. Major Baker, he's been here the longest of anyone that's represented the Salvation Army. And of course we have Richard Lemieux. He's the author of Breakfast at Sally's. He just did a little video that shows how he wrote his book. He wants to make it into a movie, and we're 2 or 3 steps toward that. Washington has a new program where they have Washington Film Works, and this company has gone around to all the different areas and the peninsula to see the beauty and the backdrop for commercials, for different programs that they might take and support a movie. So that's pretty exciting about what we have here.
Awesome. Very, very exciting.
We had the substance abuse, and we had that early on in February, and that was a prevention coalition. It started at Bremerton High School. It was a way for education and to get the students involved in awareness. I know you're aware because at Paulsbo City Hall, they've been talking to Russ Hauge and the county about the drug of choice is heroin, and the exchange program for our syringes has skyrocketed to over about 700,000. That's a lot when we started with maybe 12,000 in 2004. Having said that, if we're going to take and have more awareness, we wanted to bring that to the audience. And I know that you're going to have more programs because Mayor Erickson, the other mayors of the jurisdictions are all banding together to see if we can kind of put a stop to this.
Great.
Meth was kind of, we encapsulated that back in the early 2000s, and we did it collaboratively. All the county jurisdictions, anyone that we had working with our youth.
Unfortunately, the painkiller, oxycodone, those medications are they're everywhere. And they've gotten to be very expensive on the street. Unfortunately, heroin is less expensive. And that's where the people are going when they can't get the other painkiller. It's very, very sad.
It
Very
is.
sad.
So we need to take, being aware is one thing, but having solutions and remedies to something. So would respect any recommendations on people that want to get involved and help us as we do outreach and education, either through BKAT or through any of the jurisdictions. We invite that from our audience. We moved along and we had the science fair, and of course that's exciting because for 57 years we have done the Washington State Science and Engineering Fair, and Bremerton is the home. We outgrew Olympic College, and we're almost outgrowing Bremerton High School because they take over the theater, they have films. We had over 525 projects that were being judged, and these go on to a regional, to down in California, and from there go on a global, international competition.
And what did Carolyn Stein, who's so committed to that program,
she's their executive
thousands
director.
and thousands of dollars in scholarships to these young people, and thousands of kids come into our community from all over the state. It's fabulous. It's
when
fabulous.
I became mayor, we had about $1 million. We went from $1 million to $1.2 million. She was just at a city council meeting, and Carolyn announced that next year, 2014, we will be distributing $1.9 million in scholarships to people around the state of Washington because of what they are developing in. And you know, kids have all of that excitement. Their imaginations just don't quit. So great things.
And really with our STEM Academy in the Bremerton School District, and really nurturing the love of science and math for kids, it's phenomenal. It's going to take them far.
And it's the future. We know that when people want to take and get a degree, it's not always in engineering, but we're lucky enough at Olympic College to have four-year baccalaureates. So we have engineering, nursing, and we have now a business degree. So we're really growing in that capacity, and we're sharing all of that with you through BKAT. We also had our brand new chief was hired, and when he was hired in March,
best thing you did this year, one of the best,
and
was
he
hire
has
him.
2 programs. In fact, I'm a little bit envious of our chief of police. He has someone from his canine committee, or he's there at his station. He loves the camera, but he loves making a difference. And I know you know this, Char. He has a saying, have fun, work hard, and be safe. And people are always asking me, how can a policeman have fun in their job? When he does his weekly reports, he brings humor. He brings the light side of life, which makes it palatable when we have to deal with criminal activity or the rough side of things that go on in any major city. And so it's the best thing. He works well with others, and he's respected by everyone that he comes in contact with.
He's fabulous. When the city hosted the open house for the final candidates, I attended, asked each candidate, I introduced myself, told them what we do, and I said, how will you use public access television to communicate with the citizens of Bremerton? And he was, I've already done that, I did it in Kent, I did it as sheriff. And I said, well, I'll give you a month, and I contacted him 2 months after he was in office, and he hit the ground running.
He did.
He's fabulous.
Does
a great job.
We had a mother, African American. She came in and she said, Mayor, I've got a problem. I think that some of those policemen in the city are profiling my 2 sons. They're big kids, tall kids. And she said they get stopped where she doesn't feel that they need to be stopped. And she said, what are you going to do about it? Well, the first thing I did was call Chief Strand. And we thought maybe one of the remedies would be have a basketball game and let people become aware that a policeman is a regular guy, and that we want them to be, want to go to that policeman for help, for assistance. We don't want someone on the street to see a policeman come in and thinking, and run. And so he really has made some dramatic changes. And he lives here. First thing he did was invest in a house, reassured me that if the sheriff doesn't run next year, he says, Mayor, I'm not going to take and run for sheriff of Kitsap. He likes where he is, and with the growth the city has planned, he's going to be very busy.
Excellent.
Yeah. So he's a good one.
He's excellent.
And I don't know who does his filming, but again, good job.
Kyle Boynton.
That's great.
Yeah, he does a great job.
We also had Tim Shelton, and Tim Shelton is a senator for the state of Washington legislature, also a county commissioner, and of course with me, your mayor. So we were out at our Gold Mountain Golf Course, kind of in between Belfair or Shelton and here, and we got a snip or a glance about what happens in state government, county government, and your local city government. We've had a rough year this year in getting the budget passed and transportation, that marijuana law that has been voted in, and now we're trying to find locations where things can happen. It's an interesting time, and for you to capture all of this on film, Char, how long do you keep the films that you produce?
We have to keep them at least 7 years. So sometimes folks call and want programs that maybe were on videotape, and they're going away. They are going away. But we have 7 years of everything. Of everything. Meetings, our government meetings, as well as our inside Bremertons and around Kitsaps. Yeah.
Let me just interject. Amy Burnette was the first one to invest in the city. 24 years now, I believe it is. She bought the
what was it? Christensen's shoes. Yeah.
She bought that building, and she does her own little video. But you promote her on BKAT.
Sure.
Does she have a specific time that she's on?
Amy has a regular slot on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. And she does a weekly program. She has a whole library of videos that she has done. She does the filming, and then I think somebody edits for her. But yeah, and she's a good self-promoter.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of folks tuning into BKAT because of Amy.
That's great. That's fun to hear.
Yeah.
Following Tim and talking a little bit about the state legislature, we had, of course, our Brewfest. That's July of every year. And at the same time, we had Janet Lunsford, because we did a complete turnaround in how we handle graffiti. We went through a lean process, and all the time that I've been the mayor, we've been trying to take and step up to efficiencies, spending less money and getting more product or service out of the work that our staff does. And so we found it took about 46 days to handle an inquiry on graffiti. After going through the lean process for a week, and every department had someone involved in that. And so what Janet came and talked about was, now in 3 days, we have an app where you can take a picture of something that, and it could be a pothole, it could be a tree, it could be graffiti, anything that you see throughout the community. And if it's in Bremerton, you can send it to us. We have a category that it goes into, and someone reviews those, sends it to an action committee, and we take care of it. So it's a better way of handling issues that our citizens have within the city.
Excellent.
And the Brewfest was another success story. 30 microbreweries.
Fabulous time.
And the business owners are getting used to it. They says, oh, that noise. We were the first to be non-smoking.
Oh, great.
And because they take over the main street of our city, it's exciting. People do get to see how the city has come about and grown up. So it's a fun one.
It's really
You
great.
don't really film that, but
No.
with people's cameras and Facebook, I'm telling you, we all get to see what's going on in the activities that we've got. The Wine Festival follows that, and that's in August. It will be 6 years in 2014.
And that's when you also introduced Arne Bacher,
Yes.
who's our new director at the conference center. Fabulous man, doing great work.
And he's really taking that expansion of our conference center. We now can take conventioneers that would not be able to have had breakout rooms or have 3 or 4 day conventions and expand that. So we're hoping to help our businesses, that when we have a convention, we're going to alert people that the XYZ conference is in for 4 days, put little welcome signs in all the little stores,
Great.
be open a little bit later in the evening after the conferences finish their work program, and then take part in what Bremerton has to offer.
It's a jewel. The conference center is a fabulous place to have an event. We work with them For instance, we just did some taping at the county's annual Human Rights Conference. We have a very good relationship with the conference center, BKAT. We make a phone call, say, we've been asked to come and videotape this, and they help us a lot.
We
Great.
did that for when Bob Druell, who just retired from our Puget Sound Regional Council, and he came for one of the few times that he actually addressed. He addressed, it was Rotary, the downtown Rotary. Speaking of Rotary, Char, you're the new president of Bremerton East Side Rotary.
Well, I'm president-elect. I get to be president. I start in June 2014.
June.
So I'm in training, and it's rigorous. I had my first little training last night to meet the other incoming presidents. I love Rotary, Mayor. I love it. It's part of my life.
You know, Rotary is such an international thing. It isn't just someone that can go on the board or join. You pay your dues and you go to each lunch. But if you're committed, it is a rigorous training. And you have more leadership involvement, not just for Rotary, but for anything in life.
And it's an honor to be asked.
It is.
I couldn't believe they asked me. I'm like, oh, I'm scared. And they said, and they really lift up, and past presidents, and Rotary is, it's 100 and some years old. It's got fabulous amounts of training, fabulous amounts of help. So, and I have a great group. I love my Rotary family.
Do you have 80 to 100?
About 80 to 100. You're absolutely right. And we meet on Wednesday mornings at McLeod's.
I know, 7 a.m. I have been there.
I love mornings.
Good breakfast.
Yeah, it's an excellent breakfast, and I'm a morning person. It's hard to break away during the day or evening. I like mornings. It works well for me.
I'm a morning person too. We also had Kitsap Health District, and Dr. Lindquist was on because, as I mentioned, when we were talking about substance abuse and awareness, the syringe problem, and people wanted to know, what are you doing about it? We have been doing a lot of outreach, but I hear all the time, I didn't know that. So you'll come across somebody at the store, at the grocery store, at a meeting, and they'll say, I didn't know that. That awareness, we don't know how to get that word out. So again, that collaboration with all the jurisdictions.
Mayor, is the city thinking about the Facebook option? Are we looking at that? Because that's a huge tool.
I'm using our Navy. Naval Base Kitsap has used the Facebook for all of their sailors. So when a ship is coming in, when one's delayed, anything that's going on, it's a way for everyone to take and have access to information with our Navy. Because we're a public information driven government. And because you don't know who's going to post on Facebook, so we were always at a quandary. What if someone out of left field puts something up that is not appropriate? How do you deal with that? So that was the only thing, but I think with the county going that way, it's the future. Amen. This is the 21st century, and those little iPhones and droids are leading us. So we definitely
somebody just has to monitor it, and that is a big job. It is a big job. But it's a great tool.
It is a great tool, and that's probably, if not next year, 2014, at least we'll have everything in place to go forward with that.
Good.
The last 3 months of the year, we kind of had our wounded warriors with all of our military veterans coming back, and veterans being the top thing. There are advantages for businesses to hire veterans. There are advantages for Olympic College to have programs for veterans. The GI Bill is a marvel, and many of our military are passing that on to their wives and their children because they can utilize that. It's a great thing to get more people in Olympic College. It's one thing that will advance the careers and success of our young people today. So having said that, we had the Wounded Warrior program, and at the same time we had Project Hope, how we deal with people coming back and getting back into the realm. If you've been carrying a gun for 18 months and all of a sudden you have to change a baby's diapers or make sure you get the garbage out, that seems so trivial.
And post-traumatic stress, you know, dealing with that. That was a really interesting program with your friend Mike from the Lions Club.
Peterson.
And they're very involved in that program, very committed, the Lions Club. I commend you for that.
I would think that if anything that we're discussing today or that has been on my program, that you will contact the mayor's office or contact Char at BKAT. If she has 7 years of taping, maybe there's something that you'd like to have either at a program or even at a classroom.
That's
so
right.
That's something we can share.
That's exactly right. And also on the BKAT website, go to bkat.org. We're under the city's, you can find us under the city's website as well. The archives are there from numerous council meetings, county commissioners meetings, inside Bremerton's, the Growing Bremerton Together. They're there on our website, so it's a great resource.
And Char, your reader board, it gives you everything that's going on today. It's got some public announcements where they want to tell you what you can discard at waste management and what you can't, toxic materials, but it also has everything going on in every single jurisdiction.
That's
so if you've missed something in a newspaper article, you can just take a look, and your reader board is there to fill in anytime you don't have a program.
Correct. When a program's not running, the reader board runs. The messages are from government, schools, or nonprofit organizations. So we don't advertise somebody's garage sale or, you know,
a sale at the grocery store.
Exactly. But if you're a nonprofit organization and Kitsap Computing Seniors, very active group in our county, they have jumped on board. The Audubon Society, numerous churches, nonprofit organizations can post their information.
That's tremendous news. And then we had the 3 different people that provide a way for an individual to change their career. So we had Holly James from Entrepreneur Center. We had Jim McKenna from WorkSource, and we had Amy Olson from the Goodwill. People think that Goodwill, you either take your stuff in a box there or you can go in and buy a Halloween costume. But they have a training program that she said 22 different classes, a wealth of information for people that say, now I've just lost my job or they've eliminated this type of work. I need to get some skills. And so all 3 of those places had opportunities.
Great program.
And then our last was, before that we had 3 different areas. When we talk about growing Bremerton together, it's not just downtown. We know downtown Bremerton is beautiful. You step off the ferry and you've got flowers, you've got friends, you've got fountains. But we have other neighborhoods that want to take and be recognized. So Manette is a going concern with antiques. We have Charleston, which was the very first area for a city to be. And the first city hall was down there before Mr. Bremer had Bremerton as a city. And that still exists, and that's the Boy Scouts. They meet at Forest Ridge Park, and it's an old building, but it has the history of that first city hall. So we've had a busy year. We've got a very busy place to live, to work, and to play. And you can always see it and hear about it from our own Charleen Burnette at BKAT. It's been a pleasure having you this entire year, and I look forward to seeing you on BKAT, Growing Bremerton Together in 2014. Merry Christmas.